Hi everyone, this is Nia and today I'll be painting a pink daisy bouquet, the same as what I painted last week in gouache, but this time I'll be using watercolors and I'll take you through the process step by step like usual from drawing to painting. Before we begin though, I'd like to announce that my latest Skillshare class is now up. This time I'll be sharing a process of how I drew and painted this fizzy red currant drink. And if you've never been a member yet, you can go to my Skillshare link in the description box for a free 14-day membership. Or if you're already a member, I hope you guys enjoy painting along to this class. Anyway, let's get back to the tutorial. Let's start by drawing out the daisies first. If you've watched my aster flower tutorial, I would basically approach this the same way. You can simplify the painting by only painting it straight from the front angle, so you just want to make sure to create a circle as a guide and a round circle at the center as the stamen. And as you place the petals, you just place it in a radial way following the angle circulating the center, so you want to make sure that each petal is slightly tilted to follow the direction of the stamen. And I prefer to have some petals placed a bit randomly, so there are some gaps in between some of them, so the placement is not all even, and this would create more of a natural placement. For me, I find it personally a bit easier to paint the way I drew out the first one, where I jump around to get the right angle. But if you're comfortable drawing out the petals side by side, then you can approach it that way also. Then once I've placed the petals, I like to go over some of the petals, overlapping them with a darker value, so they look separated from each other instead of creating a big silhouette of petals once you paint it, because when you use the same colors, some of the paint might blend together, and having the darker colors will create those separated petals to give it a little bit more form. If you want to play around with the angles, you can go ahead and turn the circle into an oval as guide, then place the center again as an oval to follow the angle of the flower, then fill in the rest of the petals just like before by aiming each of the petal to the center or the stamen of the flowers. You'll notice that there's going to be a little bit of foreshortening happening, so this is why having the guide will really help you to visualize this. And once you're used to looking at it with the guide, you can try to slowly take it off and try to draw it out freehand, so it's a bit easier if you paint it later on. This is optional though, it's only if you would like to include this angle, but even using the front on angle like before, since we are going to be combining a few different flowers, it will still look fine. I'm also going to include one angle where you see the flower from the back of it, so it's more of a side angle, and this is really easy. You don't draw the center, so you can imagine like drawing half of the flower instead. For this painting, I'm going to be using my Pentel watercolor set, and because we are going to be painting pastel colors, I first used a mixture of white, vermilion with a little bit of Naples yellow for the daisies, and as for the center, I just used yellow. So just like before, I prefer drawing out the center first so you know where to aim each of the petals, and I'm using a very thin consistency of both the yellow and the pink so I can build up on the colors a bit later on. Notice how I create gaps in between each petal, so I wait for those petals to dry before adding more. This way, when the paint dries, I reduce the chance of the paint mixing or blending together, and I can create slightly different shades that way also. And just like the drawing, I also create different gaps so the placement looks more natural. Some of the petals are a little bit more thick, some are a little bit more thin, some may even be a bit shorter, but overall it still creates a circle as the overall silhouette. Here I'm also slightly varying the color of the petals, so some are a bit lighter and some are a little bit darker, using the same color just in a slightly different consistency, and this way it would give a bit more life to your painting. And then to finish off this one, I also added a slightly thicker consistency of the yellow around the stamen. And I'm just going to repeat this a few times over by creating a few more flowers, but I'm also going to play around with the size of the flower as well, just to give a little bit of variation. For some of the petals which are overlapped at the back of the main petals, you may see me using a slightly darker color, and this is just like before to separate those petals, and that way it also creates the illusion of the petals or the flowers looking lighter because you don't have a big silhouette of a flat color. The next set of flowers that I'm going to draw out are these small blue flowers. They're very simple. They're just a simple basic 5-petaled flowers that sometimes I like to only use maybe 4 petals or even a bit less because the petals may fall off. And for this I was thinking about forget-me-not flowers, but I'm not really too sure what they are. However, when I'm painting these out, I prefer to draw each petal separately so they don't come together in the middle. That way the center stays white, so you can put the yellow and it stays vibrant that way without the blue muddying it up. For this flower, I want to create a pastel periwinkle color, so I started with cobalt blue and I added a little bit of sky blue and also a touch of red purple to create more of a warm blue that's sort of in the middle of purple and blue. And to turn this into a pastel color, I of course added white. For this, I'm just going to paint ovals separately to create that 5-petaled look, and I'm just going to do a few of these. I'm making this much smaller because I want to draw clusters of them in several places. If there are some awkward spaces at the back of the flowers, you can also go ahead and add a few more petals. It doesn't always have to be a full set of flowers, so these can be a little bit more abstract. As long as you have some clear shaped flowers, your eyes will just adjust to the shape and will recognize it as part of the cluster. Once I'm done with those flowers and they're mostly dry, I then add a thick consistency of yellow. The reason why I'm using a thick consistency is if some of the blue isn't completely dry, the thicker consistency will travel less, so this way you're avoiding the yellow to travel too fast to the blue colors and muddying the colors in the end. And after putting the yellow down, I also added a slightly thicker consistency just so the blues of the flowers doesn't look too flat, just like the daisies. I like to add a little bit of a darker blue for overlapping flowers at the back, as well as the The next flower that is going to be part of the painting are these simple billy button flowers. They're just a straightforward round circle with a stem attached. For this one, we're going to use the wet on wet technique. So I'm starting with lemon yellow first. I'm using a medium consistency here, and while the paint is still wet, I added a medium yellow, which is similar to an orange, and while the surface is still wet, I also decided to take off the top part of the yellow with a dry brush so it looks like a three-dimensional orb. For this next one, I'm going to create a status filler flower. They're very small flowers which grows in clusters, and I like to think of them as the cluster itself. So I like to create sort of like a mushroom cap silhouette, but as I'm painting it later, I'm going to be doing a dotted motion to create the texture, and that way it creates the uneven surface, suggesting many small flowers in each of those branches. I want this one to be a pastel purple, so I just took some purple and white. To paint the status flower, I'll be using this tapping motion while also creating clusters of those tiny flowers. Here I'm mixing a little bit of the periwinkle blue into the purple, and I flattened my brush. This means it's in a very dry brush consistency, and I'm using that flat surface to create small random branches that is flowing down from the flower itself. Next, I'm going to be making the green for both the stems and the leaves, and for this I used a mixture of deep green, brown, and Van Dyke brown, and once I have that main mixture, I kept on adding yellow so I have a few shades of green that I can use and alternate as I paint. You can swap by using a smaller brush for this, but I just want to show you that it's possible to use the same dry brush technique like before by flattening my brush to create those finer lines. I also used a thin consistency of the yellow-green just to add a little bit of shadow underneath this stamen for all of the flowers. So to make my life easier, I decided to swap to my size 0 brush. This will make the process so much faster and easier to control. Here I'm going to be using all 3 shades to create the stems. You can also mix a few more shades in between if you would like to, but the reason why I do this is the same with the daisy petals, and that's to separate those shapes. It doesn't matter if the color is all bright or all dark, but when you're painting a few stems all at once, you want to avoid painting them as a huge chunky looking shape due to the paint bleeding together as one color. This is why I like to paint with a few shades, and I find that this also lengthens the stem to make them look more delicate, even if some are quite thickly painted. As you progress with the painting, if you feel like there are some awkward spaces, you can always go back with whatever flower you want to fill it in with. So here you'll see me adding the status flower on the left side, and I also made the purple slightly lighter for a little bit of variation. For the leaves, I'm going to be using the same color, and before I paint it, I'm just going to show you the 2 shapes that I'm going to use for the leaves. I'm using the basic leaf shape, which is sort of like an eye shape, but I vary the thickness. Sometimes I make it a bit longer, and you can do this by pulling on your brush to make it longer or shorter. And for the next one, I'm creating small clusters of rounded leaves. I'm going to alternate the green shades just like what I did with the stems, and I'm also alternating the shapes of the leaves. The reason why I like to add a bit of the darker green instead of just sticking with the light yellow green, though they are more harmonious together, is because I like the contrast of the dark muted green against the soft pastel colors of the flowers. I feel like the dark green acts like small accents, so I am limiting the use of it, but I like to place them near the soft colors of the flowers to boost the pastel colors, as it brings out more of the softness against the darker greens. Since we have most of the elements down already, whenever you feel like you need to increase some of the contrast or just add a bit of value to certain parts of the painting, you can always just go ahead and do so, like what I'm doing right here with the daisies. I forgot to also mention the way I placed the stems. I like to cross them together because we are going to be putting a little bow in the middle, and I also like to play around with the length of the stem just for more of a natural placement. For the twine, I'm going to be using a mixture of yellow ochre brown with a tiny bit of cobalt blue to mute the colors, and I'm still using my small brush here to create those very fine lines. Then for the bow itself, I'm going to add white into the previous mixture, and this white in the Pentel set acts sort of like white gouache, so it is quite opaque. That is why I prefer to have a darker twine at the back, and for the bow itself I made it a little bit lighter while also outlining some parts with the darker brown to give it a little bit of shadow. To finish this off, like usual, I like to add a few splatters, and I'm going to be using the colors of the flowers that I have on my palette, and you can pick any of the colors here or combine all of them together. I'm just picking out whatever I have left on my palette, and I also created larger dots to give it a little bit more dynamic because the splatters I end up creating were a little bit too small since I am using a fairly small brush. So feel free to do as much of this as you would like. I just personally like adding splatters because I just feel the splatters give a little bit of life and energy to the painting, and I just think they look more dynamic with the splatters. After everything dried off, I did feel like the leaves were a bit too flat since they have faded and the colors are no longer as dark as I wanted them to be, so I used a fairly thin consistency to paint on some of the midribs and also add on a thicker consistency for the stems using the darker green to liven it up again. At this point, we're basically done with all of the elements, but like usual, I always like to look at the painting as a whole to see if I've missed anything. For parts of the flowers, it seems like the colors have faded a bit too much for my liking, so I decided to add a slightly darker value to give additional details for those areas. This may vary from painting to painting depending on the stage you're in, so feel free to adjust accordingly. So this is it. This is the finished look of the painting. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something new from this tutorial. Like usual, the list of tools will be listed in the description box along with the links to my social media. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching till the end, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye!